Hey, folks, if you are joining us just now, we are live on all of our social channels. So if you see us, start writing some comments down. It helps the old Zuckerberg algorithm to pedal a little faster, or at least we think so. But either way, start interacting with us. Tell us where you're checking in from, city, state, zip code. Maybe you're overseas. You don't even use zip codes. But we want to know where you are. We want to know how helpful this has been. We've had tremendous positive energy and feedback about day one. If you haven't had a chance to meet Matt Deseno just yet in our ecosystem, maybe now you have. You've started following a lot of his social channels. He's built companies like HL Pro Tools, Zappy Chat, and many more that he's involved in all kinds of different ways. And that I'm aware if I get the chance to hang out with him once in a while in our masterminds he comes to and his team as well, phenomenal team, as well as the summit, our big conference. He's usually one of the biggest exhibitors there. But either way, the reason why we wanted to get together and do this workshop is to really move the needle in your world. We don't really get anything out of just sitting around doing a bunch of lives. We're all busy running a business, and I promise you there's plenty of team members that we rather focus on. And I say this gracefully because we care about you, we care about your journey, we care about the entrepreneur in you. That we've all been there, we're still part of it, and that entrepreneurial journey is a pretty lonesome journey, and it's important that you get connected with the right groups of people. Maybe you connect with two or three accountability partners that you do life in the digital citizen world. But without any further ado, let me welcome Matt Deseno in for day two. We have so much to cover, so I'm gonna try
Yeah.
my best to stay out of your way, Matt. Welcome back.
Yeah. And I'm going to make sure, I'm going to go quick in terms of an overview. I'm going to make sure we touch on everything because then I was worried if I go too deep into some of the ones that I get, kind of geek out on, we wouldn't have time for everything. You guys saw yesterday, you know, sometimes we set a time slot and they're like, maybe they'll fill it. And it's like, no, I can fill it. So, I want to make sure everyone gets everything they want out of,
Yeah.
today. Paulson, if you could, for folks that are in Zoom, I think you did a lot yesterday. You shared the Facebook link. It was good for me. It was
Yeah.
helpful for me
So
too to pop it up and then I could see the comments
Yeah,
as
so
well. So
Jordan is pulling the Facebook stream link and the community, making sure all the security stuff is all good. So he's going to post a link in the Zoom chat pretty shortly here. Looks like he just did already. Now, if you are part of the Zoom room, we have intentionally turned off the chat. We want you to go to the Facebook page link and start putting comments down. If you're at least watching live, give me a one in the chat. We need you to interact with us. Otherwise, we're not getting started. How about that? We're gonna pause
that's
until we
brutal.
sing an interaction. Yeah, I mean, I need to know if my audio is working at least.
Okay.
But I'm seeing a few people trickling in. La Rosa. Okay, awesome. Laura. Okay, cool. Perfect. We are seeing people trickling in. So without any further ado, let's get started with the content. Matt, you should be able to share your
Yeah.
screen now. Okay, perfect.
We're good to jump into it. So and I guess I'll say as well, I'm there in Facebook. I love it because if you guys have questions, typically you can't ask those. I won't let myself get too distracted, but I love seeing it, love seeing you participate if there's stuff that's resonating or if I go too quickly over a subject, always helpful for me to know, where are we at, kind of taking those pulse checks. Keep an eye on that. Love seeing there. Chris, happy Tuesday and excited to go through this. So we're talking, if this is the first day you're joining in, we are covering the 10 top ways to get your first or next 100 subscribers. That's a big feat. No doubt, like this is the level of elite. I just want to be forthright about that. And so I said this yesterday, and I do not mean this to be, I don't know, too bold, but this is not for the mediocre many. And you see it in the footer of my slides. Hopefully, High Level loves it as I'm telling you the results are not guaranteed. This is not guaranteed. We are learning from the best, but from my perspective and my experience, I prefer to learn from the best. I want to learn from the elite. Those are the folks that I want to model, and so that's where we're going here. Don't expect it to be easy, but I can tell you from the other side, it's worth it. Yesterday, we covered the building blocks. If you need to go back, you watch those, the journey. We covered the bridge. That's going to be critical for today as we break down how folks are doing it. We ran over some KPIs, and there was a little bonus teaser there, which I think if you're going for your first 10, I kind of gave you the farmer method. I'd go back and review that. That's going to be a lot more accessible for today. I'd love to know in the chat if anybody did that homework. I understand it was a challenge. I understand it's uncomfortable. If anybody posted their bridge, if you could put it in the chat right there. I've been doing a fun thing for folks that were already inside of my audience, and maybe I'll just I want to respect the criteria there, but I'm doing a kind of a crazy giveaway. And I'll say, if you're already part of that, if you did this and you posted in the chat, I'm going to count that as an extra entry for today. And so you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, it's okay. If you're watching a replay, probably already happened. But I mean, I encourage you. I like to give stuff away. So if you want to be in my world, today we're going over the blueprints. This is the elite acquisition engines, not the mediocre acquisition engines. This is the stuff that pushes hundreds of folks at a time. I'm going to give you some context. We're going to clarify what, like, maybe if it's on the newer side, have I seen it work that way? If it's more advanced, I want to make sure you can filter these out. And I mentioned this yesterday, but it's remarkable. Not one of these did this. I'm saying collectively, this is what I've seen generated from these playbooks, from these blueprints. This is over thousands of folks, but it's not to be ignored. I really think, like, if you catch excitement or energy in the high level ecosystem, it's not for naught. Like, there's a reason. There's a wave of impact that happens when this kind of innovation happens. And so that impact, that's the lag of the innovation. And for us as entrepreneurs, of course, there's income to participate in that impact. And then tomorrow we're talking through efficiencies, get into our 60D engine there, ROI for each stage. I'm going to say for today too, I promise you, I want to introduce you to those 10. We're going to cover this. I'm going to highlight the context and the value levers that kind of go into it. So I'm going to share the iPad. We're going to doodle it out. I'm not going to deal with multiple cameras and trying to doodle on a paper board today. I want you to walk away from this and identify one for you this week. Just as an aside, an unfair advantage to entrepreneurship is speed. If you can shorten the gap between idea and execution, my confidence in your ability to become one of the elite goes like 10 times. That is it. Shorten the gap between I have an idea and now I'm taking action on it. So I want to make sure we have time today to set you up in as best possible way that I can so that you have clarity. There's no confusion. There's no decision, fatigue that's happening afterwards, because 10 is a lot. I'm gonna be honest. 10 acquisition engines. I realize in hindsight, I should have made it like 3. But I pulled all the stops. I'm like, I'm not holding anything back. In case we haven't met yet, go watch yesterday's. I'm not going to reintroduce myself, but we're talking how to turn a stranger into a subscriber. The 3 questions that are going to be common themes to this is we're asking ourselves, like, do they know I exist? I mean, like, this is people out there. We got to ask ourselves, do they know we exist? Do they want to buy from us? We're going to walk through process. How do people get closer in that? Do they want to keep buying from us? We talk subscribers. This is a different game that we're playing. It is more valuable, but it is more difficult, I will say. One-off businesses come and go. This is why you see, a lot of folks and kind of fly by night, sell one thing one time. Subscribership, that's ongoing, lasting value. And I see it in the chat. I love it. I want to call it out. So Dennis, I want to give you a shout out. He got his first video testimonial yesterday. I love that. That is the kind of action taken. So he went through that ask portion from yesterday and put it into action. Yeah, definitely get hearts there. I want to talk to you about the best feeling. And it's on the other side of these acquisition engines. Just to cast it for you, is literally people who you've never met, receive value from you. You don't have to talk to them. They buy, they sign up, and they keep buying. And then they thank you for the opportunity to sign up and keep buying. That, for a long time, I could not even imagine that as a possibility, right? And as you go through this entrepreneurial journey, I think there's a stack of getting skills, but I'm going to be highlighting some of the mechanisms, some of the vehicles where that is a reality for these entrepreneurs. People they've never met, experience some portion of their content or their message or their brand of their business. They voluntarily move closer to that business to the point of actually exchanging a credit card for the privilege of receiving the value from the business, and they keep on paying month after month after month. And that entrepreneur's day is not made or broken in that individual subscriber's experience. I know this is weird to say, but it is, in my opinion, it's one of the best feelings. And now I don't mean to advocate for that disconnection of growth to say that I do not care for those customers, but I'm saying this is the measure of leverage. If you've been saving money for a while, it's kind of the same thing. I put a penny away every day, and all of a sudden, just the benefit of compounding time, you look back and you're like, wow, that's pretty significant. That's amounted to something. If you have enough stored up, if enough invested, you're like, man, my money makes money. It's kind of that feeling. And this is where it's like your business makes business. And so that's really, my hope. And if I could wish anything on you, I hope you get to experience this. And so we're going to dive right into it. The first funnel that I want to introduce you to, and this is an elite acquisition engine, seen it verified. It is called the on-demand demo. Not super fancy, but I think there's components here that drive it to success. This is an example of one of our folks. They've been outspoken, and we've been with them since the beginning. This is a high-level brand, and they've spoken at our summit and done a lot of stuff like this. I want to caveat this too. I definitely have a privileged position of information. Nothing I'm sharing you today is not something you could find on the internet publicly. The only thing that I get to bring here is I kind of know where to look. So there are I just want to cast this out because I know for our folks, like, we have non-disclosures. I'm not sharing anything private. I'm not giving anybody stats. I am benchmarking and just pointing your eyes into the right direction. And I just have the position of knowing where to look. So I want to say that. So I'm not going to, I highlight, I celebrate folks, but I'm very careful not to break privilege here. But so I want to talk about on-demand demo and something that you could probably, like I said, you could. My grading criteria for this. So I got a few grading criteria. If you guys know Noah Kagan, he serves folks in his business, and he calls his ideal avatar a marketer Matt. And it's so much me. And he introduced this ranking system of tacos, and I'm like, my goodness, I love that. So I also have a ranking system of tacos for you today. So I'm ranking it on ease to start. If I was going to say, like, for right now, if you're trying to identify a little bit of context here, how much energy does it take to get it going? How much, what's the likelihood? What does the win feel like? What's the actual output? And this is like, either, sort of fives are good. That means it'd be like, man, that's a killer. You should definitely do it. One is like, okay, this might be harder. So sort of hard and ease on each one of these. And third one is sort of like my general confidence. If I cast it out there with unsolicited and not full context in here, here's my, like, sort of just general advice I've seen it in the marketplace. So the on-demand demo, what is it? Is the idea that people can engage with your brand and experience it without you involved. It is literally a video recording of you demoing the solution. Now, we're going to break down, like I said, I'm going to introduce you to all of these engines. Then I'm going to map them out. I'll tease out one surprising thing about this. One surprising thing about this on-demand demo, and I actually think it's related to the success of it, is they do not showcase everything. They actually only briefly show two elements of what's inside. Now, hear me. They give access to their folks. Like, if you go out there and if you take a demo, like, this is a white label version of high level. This is also great because Julie and Kathy, they've been forthright. They tell folks on their landing page, hey, we are using high level as the engine that powers our solution here. So they're not even trying to hide the fact that it is powered by high level. But you would be surprised, maybe surprising, that in their demo, they do not show everything. And they actually only show two tiny pieces of what's going on. What do they focus on in their demo? The bridge. The entire process, the conversations, the stuff we used yesterday is like, it's going to be a recurring theme here. That's why I want you to, like, get that good, and you'll realize it reappears here in our messaging and our contents. But so ease of starting. This is very easy. You can literally just say, I'm going to do this. You could have it done today. Simple landing page. We got stuff to make that even easier for you. And you record it, spend most of your time talking through the bridge, and then maybe highlight one or two components that specifically work as part of that solution. Confidence in winning. Here's the thing is, it is a function of leverage. Imagine if you had 100 people go and watch your on-demand demo. If you did 100 one-on-one demo calls, maybe you're an incredible salesperson and you close 80% of folks. If you do an on-demand demo, it's not going to close as many, but you know how much time it costs you? Nothing. So that's what I'm saying. Like, win impact, 2 tacos. My confidence that this feels like a win, 3 tacos. So there's more to come. But so there is our on-demand demo. Like I said, I want to make sure we can cover all of these, introduce them all to you,
Yeah.
and then we're going to come back and map out some of the context and value
Yeah.
levers here.
And Matt, before you move forward, what about it? Why is it called an on demand? Why is it on demand? Like, what is
Oh,
the on
th-
demand thing?
this
Yeah.
is yeah, this is good, and thank you for bringing me back to. I don't want to use too much insular language here. So, uh, a great example of on demand, it just means pre-recorded. Pre-recorded is what it means. If you
Yeah.
guys recall in like hotels when I was a kid, sometimes they'd have like the movies that were like on demand, meaning it's essentially renting the movie, but there it is, it's recorded. I don't have to wait for the channel to show up and it's going to start playing at,
Yeah.
8 p.m. or whatever it is. It's like, oh, I can choose this right now. I select it and then I get to watch it right away in this moment. It is, another phrase of it is it's recorded, it's a pre-recorded. Some folks are sometimes concerned with this and they wonder, do people watch on demand demos? Do people enjoy pre-recorded content? Well, for one, I'm guessing there's a large number of folks that are experiencing me right now. Now, not, I mean, right now we're live, but I'm guessing actually the majority of folks that will hear my voice and the words that I'm saying right now will happen after the live, not during. And a huge factor on this in terms of the success of it is kind of a phenomenon in how we consume content. The largest, so minutes of time on usage, there's one platform, one social-ish platform that outperforms every other platform combined. That's and Paulson, if you could go into the chat, I think people are sharing the wrong Zoom room link. They're sending them to like my personal Zoom room, which would be great. We're actually hanging out on Paulson's Zoom room right now, so check that for anybody running the comments. The It's YouTube. YouTube minutes on time outperforms every other social media platform combined. What is YouTube? Primarily on-demand content. So that's what we mean by an on-demand demo. It is a pre-recorded demo. Does it work? Absolutely. The majority of folks are engaging with it in usually a pre-recorded space. Think about yourself. How much of like YouTube do you watch live? For me, I mostly watch pre-recorded. So great question there, Paulson. I think that's good for folks to, I don't,
Yeah.
if I
Yeah.
say
And
something,
then
slow me down.
part of it is the scheduling. So like sometimes these webinar tools allow you to just be like, oh, I can watch it in 30 minutes and then come back to it. So the scheduling component is also the demand side of the technology. But either way, let's keep going. Keep going.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and I'll say that like this is low tech. This runs entirely on high level native, and people are surprised. They feel like I need to have some fancy thing, some additional thing, and you're like, it is literally landing page one with opt-in, page with embedded video two. Like that. That's it. Landing page to like the page with the embedded video. So you don't need to be fancy with this, and it works. Okay, the 1DT. This holds the record for the well, yeah, I think it's well, this is I used to be very much so opposed to trials. I saw so much data there showing that free trials at large do not work. I think it's difficult because people see high level and they're like, high level does a free trial. I should do a free trial. You got to think about this. I mean, I love high level. I actually think high level succeeds despite their free trial, not because of their free trial. High level succeeds
All
because
right.
they are product drivers, they are innovators, and they have participants that value exchange. It's like In and Out. We were talking yesterday. Like that value disparity is so incredible. That's why I think they win. Here's an alternative. It is the $1 trial, the $1 trial. And so I was talking with Sean, and in broad context, I think this holds the record for just the very significant launch and impact here. Here's start. This is very easy. SaaS mode, you can literally do this. So it's like, I was like, this is actually probably one of the easier to do is to do a $1 trial. You're like, what's the shift between a free trial and a $1 trial? Like you're taking their credit card and they actually paid something. So that I'm like going to pay something versus, because you can do a free trial with a credit card. I think, yeah, you can do a free trial with a credit card, but the $1 trial, I've just seen it outperform it dramatically because the expectation is I am paying. And usually the challenge with trials is people need to pay attention. And so they'll get in, they'll pay nothing, they won't take the time to activate. We were like, I saw Frank Kern share this at the mastermind, is they were running, they ran this no commitment trial. People would no show the onboarding call. You're like, how do I literally charged you nothing. I'm just trying to get you to show up to the Zoom call. They were not prioritizing it. And so he had shared, he shifted to, more of like a paid trial system.
Paid trial. Yeah.
And so similar in there. So ease of starting, SaaS mode, literally $1
Yeah.
trial.
And also the other component of it is here at high level for us, we have to demonstrate like 600 features. It's impossible. Where you as a SaaSpreneur, entrepreneur, marketer, you have the ability to showcase a smaller solution and just focus in on that until they get the foot in the door. So your trial experiences should be a lot more simpler versus us trying to stabilize every type of digital citizen from SEO to video producers to content army to e-com to marketers and SMMA. Like it's impossible for us to not have a trial because we're catering to like 28 different avatars, right?
Oh
For
yeah.
you, it should be simplified where less than $1 trial is you just want to make sure they can pull out the credit card and actually show it, right? Otherwise, there's no commitment.
Yeah. So you need a degree of commitment. And so typically, like I said, for years, I've said, I will still say free trials are just high risk, low reward. We also see, high level currently spends a lot of time and energy to mitigate scams. So there are folks out there just listening and pulsing for a free trial to try and find some unsuspecting, high leveler who didn't properly configure the lockdown or mechanisms like that to just try and like essentially steal. And so this is an extra layer of protection there, but I actually seen a dramatic shift in the mindset and the commitment of a $1 trial. And we'll talk through the possibility there. If they've already committed, they are in a buying state now. They're not a lead. They are a buyer. They're not even like they're a trial, but they're a paid trial. And so the difference there in output, if you're trying to like, how do I get 100? I'm telling you, my belief has shifted greatly here to the idea of trial here. So the win, what does it feel like? I gave it 3 tacos. I actually think you still have an amount of attrition because it's not the full commitment there, but
Yeah.
your ability to ascend folks rapidly, we're going to get in this when we break down the map here, is so much more effective. So we talk an old style. If I did a free trial and then if I try to get them to pay for something, that'd be considered like a tripwire, like an opt-in. You paid me nothing. Now you're committed. Please pay me. Always, I'll just say, speak from our experience, our best versions of that, you're talking 5-10% versus $1 trial to an ascension offer or an acceleration offer, which we'll map out later.
Okay.
Now like much, much higher. And
Yeah.
so from that perspective, more of a win. My confidence, I only give you 2 tacos. Like I said, I don't have full context there. I'm going to give you this. Here's what I'll say. What's the X factor here? Tomorrow's the X factor. We're going to get into that. It's traffic. If you can drive a ton of traffic, then my confidence is going to go up. If you just do this, do not fall into the false belief that if I build it, then they'll come. It doesn't work that way. You can, they're like, just because you have the page, just because it's easy to configure it with SaaS configurator and be like, hey, I got this going. That really the difference maker there is how many eyeballs can you put on the offer? How many people can you make known that the bridge exists? The
Yeah.
more people that see the bridge, this is a low friction, really attractive path to walk down there for folks. And so, just in general, like I said, without knowing all of your context, I give it a 2 taco. But I'll say, if you have a big audience, if you're sitting here, you already know how to drive traffic or you already have an audience, I would shift this from a 2 to like a 4 in terms
Yeah.
of confidence there. So like we'll get in a little bit deeper into
And real quick, Matt, this is something I noticed you mentioned yesterday, but we didn't get a chance to clarify it. Is a subscriber the same thing as a trial account that you bring on, or are you
I, I
thinking a
I wouldn't
paid
consider that.
account?
We're trying
Okay.
to go to like actual payments. So that's where I'd say
Okay.
if you
Monthly
just
payment,
wanted
not even trial payment.
if you wanted to maximize your headaches, just do free trials. You will get a lot of free trials, but it's just you're just maximizing your headaches. If you want to maximize your subscribers, there's a small subtle like shift there, but I have seen exponentially better output from a $1 trial into like, does it actually turn into subscribers versus a free trial? Does that actually turn into subscribers? And so I'll say here's another I talked to this is another SaaS company, and they run a free trial, and their trial conversion is about 30%. 70% attrition before they get through the trial there. And they're doing it as good as they possibly can do. This is like top level execution there, but like 30%. Versus even from what we've seen with this more of like a low barrier but paid trial, we can get 40% to accelerate before the trial comes over, and then it might top off another 20 to 30% who come after this. So like net double the amount of potential. But I would say in large, from I see free trial folks, I've seen like it is closer to like 5% actually make it through. And I think it's just your ability to get them to prioritize it, because we all have this thing going on. We got to pay attention. You give me free stuff all day long. Am I going to do anything with it? Probably not, because it's free stuff. The shift in mindset when someone just pays a little bit, just a little bit, oh my gosh, exponential level of commitment there. So that's, like I said, I want to make sure we get through them all. We'll have time. But so these are great. The $1 trial, the 1DT is like I said, I become a believer. I'm about it. Okay, the TSO. This is the tiny SaaS offer. The tiny SaaS offer. Here's what I mean by this. And then so I got to give a shout out, because I've seen this most deployed with folks running on FormWise and this is integrates into high level, but essentially you have map with high level, which is appropriate. Like you said, you got literally 150 features. There's so much value there in this space. You can pair something alongside with it and attract the same type of buyer, the same type of avatar, but you're selling them a very small version of it. And so it's this tiny SaaS offer. And so there's probably other examples that do a similar thing like this. But
So is this
FormWise,
similar? Is this similar to like a Trojan horse offer where it's a foot in the door and you break them into a
it,
bigger package,
it's a
or
foot in the door, but it is still SaaS. It's still subscriber. So I see some folks, and we'll talk about context where this can work well. There's a relationship between supply and demand and price, and I'll map it out later. But essentially, the intersection of supply and demand is your price. Sometimes you either have, I guess an X factor there is the value. We talked about, like, what if you're serving hot dog stands? I might say just don't serve hot dog stands, because they can't receive enough value to justify the cost that's there. But there are folks who are like, man, if I could just start with a $17 per month offer. It's kind of like a Trojan horse, but it is recurring. So their mindset is, I'm signing up for a recurring offer. I am building trust with the brand, but this is a tiny SaaS offer. It's actually not leading with all or any of high level. It's just complementary and pairing there. And so what FormY does is these little like AI tools, and it's sort of, there's a couple of things that kind of makes it easy to sort of copy other softwares that are out there, kind of like what high level does too. But they are these AI micro tools that you can run tiny subscriptions to. And so it's foot in the door, but now then the mindset of the person is, I'm already a subscriber. So a great example we'll map out in this sort of play here is, they do more like an example. What's a great AI thing is like content generation. So you might subscribe to this thing that like generates unlimited social posts. And you're like, oh, this is awesome. It just generates a ton of stuff. It makes it simple. And if your upsell is, hey, go from 27 to 97, and now I'm going to give you all of our social posts generate, like the actual posting, right? What high level does, where you can connect all these channels, you can schedule out all this posts and create the content like that. So that solve a smaller problem with an intentionally slightly incomplete solution. And we've got, there's another example of this as well. But so starting power, I give it 3 tacos. Win, I'd say like 2 tacos. Another factor here is it compounds with time. People have bigger audiences. Like the better you do traffic, the more of a win this is going to feel like. But I will say, similar to the one before, with like a $1 trial, even to get a buyer versus a lead, if you start to shift where I don't just do a buyer, or I don't just get leads, I actually get buyers, or even that with a tiny SaaS offer, you're doing subscribers, you like the win, I'm saying like a 2 taco win, that's 2 taco win starts to feel like a 4 taco win or a 5 taco win even. I know some of
So,
the folks are
so
asking like, can you do tiny SaaS offers with high level? You can run the landing pages, you can sell them. I will say high level has a minimum advertised price. So we're talking 100 subscribers here. You cannot buy compliance, like just sell high level at $4 a month or whatever it is. And that's just for the integrity of the entire ecosystem there. So it's a reasonable thing they do that, but that's why we'll pair these, some of these things along. And
yeah,
I have other examples of even free tools we can use to get a different stack here, but similar thing where I want to start with a lower barrier, even lower ticket, but it's because I know my audience. I know that supply and demand intersection. Maybe my, addressable value isn't there. And this is a foot in the door, but a foot in the door subscription of just a little
gotcha.
sliver of what it is.
Yeah, I'm glad you clarified that because you cannot buy our compliance sell high level below $97 or something as a SaaS
Correct.
provider.
Yeah.
And that is something we have in place as a mechanism to keep the ecosystem safe. So what Matt is describing is there's so many third-party tools and integrations like FormWise, ZappyChat, for example, from what I know. There's
Yeah.
multiple things that you can create relevancy with for the audience to go get into your world some way, somehow. And they're not just trials, actually. They have to subscribe typically, right? So it's like you're getting paid and they understand the solution. Everything stays simple and it just goes right in as a natural progression of usage.
And I'll give you this example. I was talking to Sean about this the other day and I tell folks, Calendly is a great example. It does like one focus thing. And you might say, I actually know now confidently, high level does everything Calendly does. For years, it's like high level's been our calendar provider and they've continuously added more things. At this point, I looked at like the releases over the last 6 months. I'm like, you guys match it toe for toe, right? Does Calendly still exist? Yeah. Does Calendly still get new users? Yeah. So much so that high level now has an integration for Calendly. Like there are all these things. There's adoption biases that you don't want to create as friction. You're like, okay, fine, let's just keep moving forward. And so think about in our lives, like we're here on Zoom. My company, we pay for Zoom. We also pay for Google Workspace, which also has Google Meets. And so like it's not uncommon to pay for like to basically have redundancy in the solutions that we have because we prefer one solution over another. But and that's where it's like Zoom has more traction, has more popularity for what it does, even though I think Teams, on the Microsoft side, like all these other big providers essentially have alternatives. So you don't have to pay for Zoom, but we still prefer it because it's focus. And so this is the same way where you can create focus in a small little entry level piece like a tiny SaaS offer, which is super easy to understand. That clarity's there. The bridge for the tiny SaaS offer, incredible. And we can use it to actually catapult demand for the larger offering. So for
Yeah.
example, and we're going to map this out later, but as we just keep that example going, if I tried to go and say, hey, I had a bridge and my solution was all around scheduling out content, that sounds fine and dandy, but my audience may not even have the content, right? So it's like if you provide, video hosting, you're like, oh, it's amazing. I got unlimited video hosting. They may be like, I don't make videos. And so if you gave them unlimited video scripts and prompts to create videos, you're actually solving a problem that creates another problem that you have a next level solution for. So that's, like I said, we're going to go in depth and map these out more, but that's the basis for the tiny SaaS offer here. And like I said, I'm just seeing what's working
Working.
now for
Yeah.
the folks that are breaking past 100. You want to, not, you're getting a little bit beyond baby steps and getting to kind of like a fast walk or run here. And this is one of those examples where you just lower the friction, get ultra focused. And you can imagine the exciting part isn't getting 100 folks to pay you $27 a month. That's it. Like, but if 100 folks pay you $27 a month and then like 60 of them pay you $197 a month, now you're like, oh my gosh, this machine starts to feel very magical. And the entry level, the tiny SaaS, made it easier to ascend them. So, like I said, we're gonna break that down. The challenge funnel. This is not an uncommon one. This has been around in marketing, but I see people more and more so applying it to subscribership, like getting continuity, moving that back end here. So here's one of our this is one of our platinum folks, and just want to shout her out. She's got hyper focused. We talked yesterday about picking your niche, and does it work better if you pick a niche? It's easier. right? That impact equals focus times force. You have that great focus and you're like, wow, you can reach levels there. So starting value, actually doing it, I gave it 4 tacos. In terms of ease, we'll talk about like actually, I might reframe this. We've got some tools to accelerate this, but I'm contextualizing this in a later one. We'll see there's some overlap here. Win, gave it a 2. Confidence, gave it a 3. This is still right in there in the middle road. If you already know challenges, like this is challenges work, and you can use challenges to sell continuity. So I'm looking at folks doing over 100. This absolutely works. I almost put in ours as an example here, but like we also run challenges. Like I know this deeply. They absolutely work, and we're going to break that down and map that out a little bit more, but probably not a surprising one for folks. Or if you're new in the marketing space, I'm going to go deep, and so we're talk more about challenges.
And as we go into more options here, just so you know, we're covering 10 different ways to get to 100 SaaS customers. Now, I'll tell you, Matt has great information with ton of massive brands that he works with, and so do I. Just because we're presenting all these 10 doesn't mean all 10 applies to you. All you have to do, if you're watching this, is take one thing and apply to your business over the next 90 days and see what happens, right? You shouldn't, if you're feeling overwhelmed, oh man, I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to do this, I got to do this, you're kind of losing the point of why we're presenting all of it, because every single one applies to 10 different types of people, right? So just have that context as we're sharing more and more things. I don't want you to feel overwhelmed, but
I don't
challenge
want you
just,
to feel overwhelmed either. So I appreciate you restating that because I told you, I promise you by the end of the day, I'm going to help you get clarity. You're going to walk away with your one. You're going to know which one for you to do. And as I said at the beginning, maybe 10 is too much, but high level asked me to bring my best and I could not hold back anything. So I know there's somebody here who's going to be like, this is for me. This is the one that I want to be doing. And that's why I'm covering it. It's
yeah.
not for everyone. But for someone, I think you might get an idea here that could unlock that next level. I'll say for us, I've known about challenges since 2018. We didn't start a challenge until 2023. In hindsight, I'm like, Matt, this is so dumb. I should have done it sooner, but that's okay. And so for you, this might be the right time, or it might not be. Store it away. You'll get to the point where maybe it'll come back up in the memory here. And so, um, okay, the authority funnel. This is another one. Like I said, I'm just reporting what is working, not necessarily recommending this to everyone here. It is typically a book funnel. Like you maybe like understand the book funnel. Like writing a book is such a big leap to overcome that you get a ton of authority from writing a book. I'm just be honest. So I give it 1 taco for starting. It's hard. I'm not gonna like beat around the bush. It's absolutely hard. You got to sit down and write. It also helps. I guess I say pre-writing, you need to have experience. There are ways to do this, and we're going to map it out of like how would I shortcut this process and make it a little bit easier. When here, I'm giving it 3 tacos. I actually see this tends to of like impact of success. It stands out a little bit more than even I'd say challenges. Here's why: marketing's effectiveness is directly related, or even correlated to its uniqueness. If you can do what others can't or won't, you will win more often. We're talking elite funnels here. So if the work is hard, there's a good chance that if you do the hard work, other folks won't do the hard work. And so just by that reality, as you move into it, you're like, oh my gosh, it actually does it inches out a little bit more in effectiveness because you got more work on the front end. So I'm gonna be honest about expectations there, but if you felt, well, I'll say this, if you already have a book, this can work. So we're going to map it out. So that's where like context matters. If you've already done the hard work, I'm going to show you how you can leverage this. This can work really well for you. If you haven't, my confidence is 2 tacos. I'm not necessarily recommending it, but like I said, if you do the hard work of doing the book, my confidence goes up. But this is just my, general population trying to help you have some, general basis of where should I put my attention to. This absolutely works. And we're going to go through, I think, some of the magic of what's happening in these book funnels in essence, and a couple of different variations there. And like I said, we got some stuff to make this easier for you. But I want to make sure we understand it. We're picking up the nuggets that we want in terms of the piece here. And I promised you I was going to talk about price. I don't know if we're gonna have time today. I might hit it tomorrow. But one of the levers for price is authority. So if you want to charge more, have more authority, when we talk about the value of someone receiving, if you have more authority, association actually has a value there. This is the same reason why, like, if a celebrity says, "Hey, can I stay at the hotel?" The hotel's like, "Yeah, we'll find a way." Like they make space. They've got reserved rooms, right? If the president's showing up, they're like, "Clear it out." People of high authority can can justify a higher price, if you will, like the price that people are willing to pay, even, and it's just because this is just a heuristic of value. Being associated with high authority is valuable to us. And so we're going to go through a book funnel, the MVPR. This is actually um, one of my favorite. And so here's why. It's it's the minimum viable prototype workshop. And when we get into the deep dive, I think I'm going to spend a little bit more time on this, because if I did a basis of where folks are at, and if I just judge from yesterday, if some folks are more in the like, I've got less than 50, even if you were less than 10, here's the one that I would say I've seen folks go from 0 to like 25 the fastest. And we're going to work through the process of why that happens here. Some of it is because when you're early on, you need to be imperfect. This this engine here, because it's a minimum viable prototype, is gonna work. It's gonna work well. So if you're an imperfect action taker and you're starting here, you're like, I did my homework yesterday. I'm excited to cover this one for you. The win, I give it 4 tacos. Like I said, like if I could only teach you one, this is actually the one that I would be teaching you.
Yeah.
And my confidence is like this definitely wins the taco score here. And it's because if you're big or if you're small, I've seen this crush. And there's very few that I've seen apply all the way across the board. But this is it's you could call it a workshop funnel. You maybe seen stuff like that. It's like, man, I've seen that all the time. Like this happens all the time. I'm going to teach you a method that's the prototyping method. And you might be surprised to be like, this is exactly how I run, how I do it. And I had a conversation. Well, I'll share it later, but I was at the gym in the sauna today, and I get to bring up a conversation from the sauna today with another gentleman that I think directly applies to this. But so there's our minimum viable prototype workshop. Really excited. We're going to have more time to dig into that one in a particular. Okay, the OTP. This is the one-time purchase. And like I said, I just looked at who's getting scale, what's working here. My start, I'm giving you 1 taco. So what's the idea here? You can sell one thing, one time, that has a high likelihood of needing recurring solutions. So an example is, if I sell you a funnel template, what is the chance that you're going to need something to power said funnel template? Right? Like what are the odds? 100%? Like, or let's say I sell you a 5-point email sequence. It's amazing. It's a 5-point email sequence. Here you go. What are the odds that you're going to need something to send out the email sequence? Or what if I sell you, you could pick the same thing for like a text-based sequence. I could sell you, what's a good one example here of like a map out for like a quiz funnel, right? This is basically surveys. Like if I gave you a survey, map out process or training or something like that, I'm selling a one-time purchase. It is just, I'm getting a customer, but the thing that I sold them basically needs some sort of recurring solution behind it. And so what ends up happening is the transition from like, this is amazing, like, you're welcome. And they're like, this is so beautiful. This is great. And then it's a very easy transition to say, well, are you plugging this into anything? Like, are you using this anywhere? Like, what are you doing the power of this? And it's surprising how many folks they're attracted to the upfront and they don't even consider the back end. And so this, I think about like cars. If you sell a car that requires, well, let's go like, Tesla, they sell an electric car. It requires electric charging. How hard is it for Tesla to sell charging station time to Tesla car owners? It's incredibly easy. Like, but it is a recurring expense. So I pay for the car one time, and then I keep on paying for electricity like all the time. And I mean, Tesla's a genius at this. They sell the car and then like, hey, do you want to keep on having Wi-Fi? Like, okay, that's a subscription. Hey, do you want to keep on having like all these media connections? Like Tesla has a huge basis of subscriptions that are built on the back of a one-time purchase. No one's just like driving up to the charging center and be like, I just want to buy electricity for today. Similarly, like no one's like, Tesla, can I just subscribe to your car internet? You need the car, and then the sale to the recurring, like to becoming a subscriber, is like a lay down sale here. And so I've seen this. We're going to go through like some easy examples here, but so like Canva templates are in that zone. And I see people doing it in other marketplaces, and they're acquiring customers and then ascending them into subscribers. The win, I give it 3 tacos. I mean, depending on your skill set, you might be like, this is a 5 taco, Matt. I will say in this category, I see probably the biggest chunk of folks that are doing like 4-hour work week style. So if you've ever read the 4-hour work week, and this is, I'm not, this is not the majority, this is the elite minority. But if I had to go through all the folks that are getting success, these are the most passive. The folks that are running this engine are the most of like, hey, this is great. I run this, like their recurring business is a white label. It's high level. They're just running on high level. And you're like, how do you get customers? And they're like, well, I just like have a bunch of one-time products up, and people just find it and they buy it. And then I just follow up with like, how
Yeah.
are you going to use the thing you just bought?
I
And
see this
like,
quite. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
no, no,
I
no.
see this quite often with coaches and educators. They have a $2,000 course, and then it's 50 to $100 to be part of the community, right? And we see that quite often in digital marketing.
Yeah. So a great example with coaches using community as continuity. I've seen, yeah, in my mind, it's actually people doing more. Well, my example here was I pull in the segment of folks that are crossing that 100 and doing it predictably. They think more like sell funnel template, sell Canva design of a thing, sell email templates, sell, nurture sequences. And you're just selling the words or the design, the graphics, but you're like, you need something to power those things. So we'll,
Yeah.
we'll map it out, but I think there's a couple different ways where you can one-time purchase there. My confidence, once again, hard work to do. I told you it's elite. But if you do it, I have a ton of confidence. Like it is, the marketplace of one-time purchases is robust. And sometimes you just have to have a good bridge. If you have a good bridge, you're specific on your bridge, you can essentially Craigslistify something that's already working for another industry. If you guys haven't seen this, I don't have the graphic. You look at Craigslist back in the day, and what they've seen many big software or like website solution businesses are just pulling out sections of what Craigslist was. Craigslist had everything. And then there was like Airbnb. And then there was like, I forget the one for like, there's the motorhome Airbnb. And there's like all these, there's like literally hundreds of different marketplaces that are just derived from taking one sliver from Craigslist and being ultra specific in it. And so the same thing, if you see like, this is actually, this example was an Etsy shop bundle for Etsy shop sellers. So it's like in Etsy, selling to Etsy, very, very meta thing going on there. But you might find like, oh, I see funnels for, there's popular ones like, oh, there's funnels for dentists. And I happen to be speech therapist. I'm like, oh, there isn't actually specific funnels for speech therapists. You can replicate that exact same model, do a similar thing where you deliver it on like it's just the design, make it a Canva template. So like, here you go. Here's your funnel template in Canva. That doesn't live alone. Like it has to be, you have to put it somewhere. And so then if you already have it built as a template inside of your account and you have it in like in Canva, you're like, this is brilliant. I sold you the thing that would make you really want to have the one where it actually works. And so
Yeah.
we're going to map it out and keep going in that. The DM funnel. So I have one of these that's not actually a funnel, but it's a funnel. It's not a landing page. So this is, we're going to get in later. I'm going to walk you through inside of high level to show you how easy, honestly, high level makes it to run this process here. So it's the comment or DM funnel. This is a hilarious screenshot of me. But you've probably seen it and that kind of content. You've seen it before. And you're like, Matt, does this work? Yeah. It's literally your call to action is a very accessible call to action. So this was like a, comment the word scale down below, literally just write the words scale. And high level allows you, like they make, I said, start I'm going to show you, very easy to do this. Now, I guess you could pair this with like recording content easy. there's a skill set there. I will say that's another, like showing up on video. This is another, if you do what others can't or won't, you have a higher chance of winning there. So this might be a skill set, an area to grow into. But the mechanics of this high level makes stupid simple. And I say it's a three taco win, and I'd give you a three taco confidence. This is another one where when we'll break it down. Some folks, uh, social media is difficult because we compare ourselves to like the ultra elite. For those of us here, I put it this way: when you see like you put a reel and you're like, I got 20 views. Would you have been unhappy if you hosted a live event and 20 people showed up in the room? Not at all. You'd be stoked. You're like, oh my gosh, 20 people are going to come in this room and they're going to listen to my message. I'm going to share this bridge with them. That would be incredibly valuable. And so I think too many people fall off in consistency because of the negative self-talk of comparison between them and somebody else. And I'll tell you, I've gone through seasons of, you do one and you're like, oh my gosh, 80,000 views. You do the next one, it's like 500 views. And the trick is to reframe it and pretend it was like happening in real life. How happy would I be is if folks showed up in the room right now? And if 500 folks showed up in the room, I mean, fabulous. That'd be an incredible audience to have that. Even, I'm saying, even 20 would be an incredible audience here. So this absolutely works. And I've seen folks, even with small reach, start to run this process. And they're like, oh my gosh, I got one out of my 20 went here. And I'm going to tease out one of my traffic hacks. I was going to cover tomorrow. I'm going to bring it in today because I want to give you as many of those like low friction action taking steps that you can do. So I have something for your homework for today that's going to move the needle and help you to amplify this. But there's the DM funnel. It absolutely works. It basically is a comment below in your videos, and high level makes it easy to engage with that, drive the conversation, and allow you to connect with folks. So, and I think this is our last one. Are we at 10? It's going to tell
We're at
me.
number
No,
nine.
we're at 9. We got more. This is why I numbered them. The group demo. So this was I just got to be honest. I was looking at like what's happening here. And so I pulled it from real example. ZappyChat runs this. Now it's not the only acquisition engine that we have. But so we run this. I've seen other folks run this. And so I gave it 4 tacos. I might give it 5 tacos. Like you literally block out time on your calendar. The magic of this is you can get away with having 1 slot per day. Or if you're going to have like, you could do 2 slots per day. And so you maximize the potential impact of your time. Here's what happens. Maybe only 1 person shows. Congrats. That person just got a one-on-one demo. Maybe 10 people show. Woohoo. We got a 10 people on the demo here. Similar to that, like on-demand demo for the folks that want to be able to ask questions, they want to feel more connected. It runs very similar to an on-demand demo if you had like kind of like a Q&A. And I'd say like this is almost a very similar to that. You're like, okay, we're all seeing the same content, whether, 10 people show up or hundreds of people show up. I'm going to probably say the same stuff, but you have the opportunity to engage, in this way. We got comments on a group demo. You can answer questions more specifically. You can handle independent objections, and it's really good for the feedback loop. So I'm not covering it because it's not the method that I see people getting to 100 with, but one-on-one demos are still very valuable. I'm not discounting those whatsoever. I'd actually say you should do a one-on-one demo before you do a group demo. The caveat there is if you start with a group demo, chances are your traffic is so low, there'll be one-on-one demos anyways. And so you can set up the system. You will accidentally get the valuable reps that are happening here. And my confidence in you to deploy this and find a win, I give you 4 tacos. So I'm saying starting is for the win, the feeling of it. Like if you're running the system, it doesn't feel as fabulous if you're doing it, but I'll tell you this magical destination. There are folks out there that love talking to folks. They love talking about the bridge, and they love connecting folks to a solution that you have. They're called salespeople, and they live for this. They're like, my goodness, this is my jam. Every day I walk up and I want to share the good news with as many people as possible. If you've done a good job of saying like, why do we exist? To solve meaningful problems. Like I said yesterday, like you're eliminating friction for local businesses. You're making the customer buying experience just for the general towns and cities we live in better. There are folks that are like, this is their jam day in and day out. And so I'll be honest, I don't do these. We have other folks on the team that live and breathe and love this thing. And so now for us, I say it this way, my deficits create opportunities. It's not a thing that like lights me up or brings me joy or wasn't the best use of my time. That deficit on my side, I couldn't do everything. That's an opportunity for someone else. They get to slot in, they get to be a valuable added contributor here, and the pie grows, right? So you get to share and develop and grow a team if you want to, right? In the space here. I think even for yourself doing it early on, it's valuable, it's good. It's the group demo. It's got a time slot. Like I said, the win, if you're doing these, depending on how many you're doing, the tacos kind of go up and down. If you do one group demo a week and you get 50 people on there and you close, 40, you might say 5 tacos. But I'm just saying generally, I'd give it 2 tacos. My confidence is 4. You can absolutely do this. Okay. Last one is our collab funnel. You are literally living in it right now. It is a collaboration funnel where you don't even have to focus on being the messenger, on delivering the value. You can actually partner with other folks. And so I gave it 1 taco to start because I'll talk you through this. We'll give you context. Not a lot of folks are good at like creating relationships or partnerships. I don't know why. I'm going to trust you're in here. You're already part of the elite. But I'll say this, if it was easy, everyone would do it. Not everyone does it. Why? Because it takes a little bit more relational skills. You have to have those conversations. You have to you just have to understand what's valuable to the other person. And it's usually not just like dollars. There's usually other factors there. You have to build it up over time. You got to dig your well before you're thirsty. You can't turn around and just find an expert and be like, hey, please, will you come to my audience? Because for them, like, you don't know what they value. So there's all these other factors. I'd say starting power, giving it a 1 taco. It's not the easiest. It is hard. Otherwise, everyone would do it. Win, I'm gonna give it 4 tacos. There's a reason why High Level does this repeatedly. They now have a process where, I mean, let's be real. Like Paulson, is this exhausting for you?
Not really, because
Pretty
there's
good.
30 team members behind this.
Well, you got a lot. Yeah, not discounting the coordination there, but I'll tell
Right.
you, like yesterday, guys, when I came off, I had to decompress a little bit. I love it, but like
Yeah.
there's no way I could like if I was doing this every
Yeah.
single day to this
Yeah.
amount of content every single day, it's almost impossible for one person to do. It's for you
Yeah.
to muscle along. You can
Yeah.
collaborate with other folks that have complementary messages that serve the same audience, that are a vehicle for delivering value here. This is a 4 out of 5 taco in terms of a win.
Yeah.
Confidence is similar to those things, like confidence of like, is the lemon worth the squeeze? Yeah, 5 tacos. And I'll say from our experience as well, we've done a similar process here where we've approached folks that share an audience, even like, and I'll give you an example, like even in a niche specific. So we had we have a brand and partnered in the chiropractic space, and we played this sort of same game. It's like, okay, we've got reach of our audience, which would be great there. But if we could bring in other expertise that are also specialized into chiropractic, they know chiropractors, the value is through the roof. And they're speaking to things that aren't competing. They're just complementing exactly what we do. And as we talked about from yesterday, we look at the foundation here on either side of it. If you're trying to grow your prospects or grow your subscribers, what do you want to do? You want to speak more about the pain points. Is it a discomfort or is it distress? That's education and agitation around that. And then you want to give free value. This absolutely fits the bill, checks the box of high leverage, a 4 out of 5 taco for a win. And for me, I'd give you, if you do this, a 5 out of 5 taco. I've seen other folks now do this recently. I participated in some and I give them tons of kudos. It's hard to do 1 taco to start, but if you can put in the hard work, this is definitely in the zone of few folks are willing to do the work that works. And this is a good one.
Yeah, and add a note that I want to share here. Partnerships are based on different, I mean, it's not just a virtual thing, right? There's so many different formats. You can do this on a podcast format. You can
Mm-hmm.
do this in an in-person. I mean, like every single week, there's somebody here at High Level Leadership that is speaking at a conference or an event because we have a partnership somewhere we sponsored or got in front of them some way, somehow, and they put us on stage, right? So it's not just a virtual 3-day workshop or a 5-day challenge or a 1-hour masterclass or 30-minute, lunch and learn. It comes in different formats, and you want to take advantage of it and explore what you're good at. Maybe you're good at speaking on stage and selling off a stage, and you're maybe not that great at podcasting, right? And there's different skill sets there that you want to develop, but it starts with leverage, right? You have to be able to figure out what provides the right value for the other person. And you have to be respectful of each other's audiences. Like if I go into Matt's audience, I know most of them are already on high level. Like that's the world he serves. If he comes into our audience, you notice Matt has not really talked much about himself or Zappy Chat or HL Pro Tools and all the services because he's being respectful to the context of the call, right? Which he can, but yeah, I'm just pointing it out. There's a level of a way to navigate the partnerships, and now I'm just like, Matt, we gotta bring you back in a couple of months again, right? Like it's exciting because the audience love it. We're delivering content, but either way, the partnerships is a skill set. It takes time, but there are so many different formats: in person, stage, podcast, all books, even like people write books together. Either
Yep.
way, I'm gonna get off my
And we're gonna,
soapbox.
like I said, if it feels like a lot, I'm now gonna go back. Now we're gonna go even deeper. So hopefully, like we're halfway done. I probably it's gonna be good. Strap in, take notes. I almost want to like give everyone like a break, take a water break. You're on Zoom though, so you're probably already doing what you need to do, and so that's good. So keep on going. We're just getting started. Okay, I'm gonna shift over to the iPad
Yeah,
as we map this out. If I look like a crazy person dotting around, it's because I got all these like post-it notes to
yeah,
keep me on track now when we're doing iPad
yeah.
stuff. This is unrelated sort of, but Draw to Win, very cool book. And if you like practical, readable books, it's what got me into doodling. It's called Draw to Win, and it's a great way. It talks about like how like our minds are maybe activated a little bit more in
Yeah. And Matt,
in
as you're pulling that up, I want to just remind everyone, sometimes I forget to like even talk about it. As part of this workshop, you do have access to a 30-day trial. So you see that link in the description. If you jump into it while this workshop is happening, Matt is going to provide a ton of free stuff, resources that people pay him thousands of dollars for as part of the workshop. So take advantage of it. It's a great way to get started. Matter of fact, if you're struggling with any of those trials or whatnot for whatever reason, either Matt's team will jump on a call with you, and they have a huge, tremendous team there. Even at high level, we have a team that can even help you with that as well. But just so you know, there's a trial attached to this event that you want to take advantage of. It's going to expire as soon as we're done tomorrow. But keep
yeah.
going. I like the doodling thing. You're on iPad. Cool.
Yeah, I'm rocking the iPad. So
Okay.
I've just found for me as I'm trying to like solidify these concepts for you as well. It's what's caught, it's not what's taught. And so I hope that if I give you different modalities of kind of learning here and as best I can in a one to many, I'm hoping that something just sinks in deep and that's what catalyzes that action for you. So I'm gonna go deeper on each one of these things. And so we're gonna start with that on-demand
Yeah.
demo.
And what does
So,
EAE stand for again? Just as a
oh,
reminder.
elite acquisition engines. I apologize for the acronyms here. We got so many things going on. So here, I'm gonna I will commit to being better about writing this all out. So we got our on demand demo, right? And so these are our elite acquisition engines. This is not typical. This is not for the mediocre many. This definitely doesn't work if you don't want to try or you don't want to be in the group of the best. But if you want to show up on stage, a high level summit, if you want to be in a select group of folks that have found incredible way to have just awesome impact and consequently income, this is the stuff that I would learn from. So we're talking the on demand demo. So I'm going to give it to you visually. So in a two part here, you have a key thing about it is it's very similar to the what I'm gonna say, like our MVPR, which we're gonna talk through. So your actual starting page, it's an image. So the key thing here is there's nothing to watch on the opt-in. What's going to happen is it's going to drive to a pop-up that's going to have a form and it's going to send them to a simple page where now they can watch. And so this is where I think folks, they can miss it, where they're like, I just want to have my demo like it's on the page. They're just watching it there. It's just like a video you can click and go to. You like, we're thinking about, right? The foundation, the circle that goes around. You want them to know you exist, but then you want to know they exist. Why? Because then we can do things like essentially abandon checkout. We can continue to nurture them. We can identify like, what was the objection? Why didn't they buy? The commitment level from will I put in my email address to experience this on-demand demo? That's not a high amount of friction. They can make up an email if they wanted to. Chances are they'll put in a real one. Why? Because you did a good job with your bridge. The problem was there. The distress, the discomfort, it was understood. It was well clarified in your messaging. And so we want, I call it like the pen. We want to collect pens. That's phone, email, name. I want to get as many phone, email, name as I possibly can. And I put all of those pens in my high level CRM, right? So we're dropping all these pens in here. That is an asset for long time. But that's the key thing here is usually you'll see it's an image like this piece right here. It's an image that looks like they could play. And you might be asking, Matt, why do people do this? Because people will click on the video or looks like a video, and you can do it to different degrees of, but something that kind of represents you're going to watch a video. They click on the video and that opens the pop-up. What happens? In their mind, they just told themselves, I'm already committed to this. I want to watch this. And so it actually converts better than if you just had a page that said like, fill out your information to get a demo. So the actual experience of like, I can sort of engage with it. And it's really a micro commitment step to like, oh, I got to put in my email to see it. You will, I'm just saying, A/B testing, you will get a higher conversion rate, letting them take that micro step of commitment, then moving to the page where it's just a video on page. And so this is all in high level, nothing fancy. It's I huge shout out. If you don't already know, high level lets you have unlimited video hosting. You just embed it right here. You don't have to pay for Vimeo or anything like that. You just like, it's right there and it works brilliantly. And so super simple 2-step funnel there. And then like, if you're like, what happens here? This is my call to action to buy. And I kid you not, this funnel works. They start off, they're curious about the pain. They go, they watch a video from someone and they click to buy. And if you're saying, Matt, I don't believe it, this could never work. I offer you the example once again of YouTube. How many times have you seen a YouTube video and they're like, the link is down below to purchase, and then you bought it? I buy stuff on Amazon probably like at least weekly that I found on YouTube. They gave me a YouTube video. They talked about it. And I was like, sure, I'll support you. I'll use your affiliate link. I don't care. That's what affiliates do. You can do this for your own brand. The same thing applies. Yeah. The demo there. Now, I mentioned it earlier. I want to reiterate. It's like, what goes inside of this? So the actual content, what you're saying, practice it yesterday. I saw someone write it in like all caps and I love it. It's the bridge. It's an elongated bridge. That's it. So we're going to shoot for somewhere between 10 to 20 minutes. And it is a elongated bridge. So we're going 10 to 20 minutes. The practical, so what is that? Person, problem, product, payoff. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go back and watch yesterday. We're going to elongate the bridge out there. And on the product side of it, we're going to showcase minimally what it looks like. We do not want to showcase so much of the product. And I'll be honest, like, there's a couple different reasons. One, there's a chance they had a bad experience in a similar looking tool. Like, you just can't control what came before, right? And so actually, the less you show behind the scenes, the less objections that are possibly there. Like, you just don't win by showing it all. You have the potential for confusion. It creates questions. And if you're doing this in an on-demand format, meaning it's pre-recorded, if they have an objection, you can't overcome it. Like, they're there. And if they see this, I'm done, and they leave, you just lost them. In a live demo, you have a little bit more grace there, even if you're doing a group demo, to engage with it, because you have the feedback loop of objections. Here, you want to minimize objections as much as possible. So we're going to show, this is crazy to people, little. Now, when I say show little, I don't mean don't have visuals. I mean, create slides. Have some sort of presentation. It also, even if I'm going to show stuff in there, people are always surprised about this. I would rather have screen grabs in slides. Why? Because I don't want to have some weird loadings thing happen. I don't want it to go slow for whatever reason. I don't want some pop-up to show something that I shouldn't be showing anyway that's there. And so if you think about great presentations, which is this on-demand demo is a little bit of a great presentation, your preparation elevates the experience. So just in your mind, we think that like, that feels like, actually, I think this is just I think it's a little bit of a barrier to work is like put a little preparation behind it. I think sometimes we're like, well, what if they want to like dig around and click the buttons? I'd be like, you don't want that to happen. Like that is only a recipe for objections. It's the reason why like great performances are scripted, they're rehearsed, they've practiced it, and they perform it to a T. If you want to have some predictable delight, if you want to under promise and over deliver, under promise and over deliver. So a great example of this is if in your presentation you have someone call you and this is a recording. We call this, my wife loves it. We call them man mistakes. No, but man stands for manufactured. They're man mistakes. Who did I learn this from first? I learned this from first. Someone was doing recorded voicemail, and they would intentionally have like the kids be loud or the dog bark or something like that. And so the voicemail will be like, "Hey, this is Matt. Just saw you opted in. Oh, sorry. Hey, babe, 1 second. I'm just leaving a voicemail. So sorry about that. I was just saw you opted on the website. I'll text you over a link. It's my calendar. Hit me up anytime you need. Just text me anything you need." And that was the recorded voicemail. So it was always recorded, did the voicemail drop. You can also do this in high level. It's a cool thing. But there's a manufactured mistake, which makes you're recreating the authenticity that you wanted in sort of like the organic nature of it, but it's designed, it's orchestrated. So you could do this in the demo. Imagine if you're like, you have someone call. So like the phone alert comes up there and you're like, oh, I'm so sorry about that. And you're like, actually, this is interesting. Let me show you what's happening right now. Someone just called in. This is our missed call text back feature that's happening. And like, so if I'm going to show the thing, it's going to be part of an orchestrated dance. Like this is choreographed. This is not like willy-nilly, floating through it. And even then, like when I'm going to share the screen in a thing, it's going to be specific, portioned, exactly where I know I need it to go. And I know it's going to work exactly as I want it to work. And so, just consider that. So you can advance it with some manufactured mistakes here, use slides. And if you're going to incorporate it that way, and then your call to action is literally like the button below. So click below.
And
I
Matt,
will say,
do you have an opinion on people showing themselves versus hiding behind the camera on stuff like this?
I love, oh, so this is the great, I'll say it this way. It's still once again of like the pattern interrupt. One of your unique assets, hear me. One of your unique assets is being you. This is weird and deep and philosophical, but I think not enough folks appreciate the specific asset that you bring that no one else can compete with. If you don't want to show your face, just know you're taking probably one of the most valuable things in your business and you're saying, no, I won't leverage that. I understand this is one of those one taco areas. It's hard. If it was easy, everyone would do it, but like you will be surprised. I want to give it a shout out. You guys probably know him. Nuno is the only Nuno I know. Nuno
No
is
Tavares.
yeah, actually I think he's done a workshop before. So I've known Nuno for years and he's come through this world of agency freelancer. He was working he had a 9 to 5 and I don't know if I pulled him. I might have pulled him into high level. So it was like, I knew him pre high level and he was uncomfortable showing his face, putting himself out there. And I was like, you got to do it. Now he's got a YouTube channel. He like soaring and doing so much good stuff. And I'm like, dude, I'm so stoked. So Nuno, I don't know if you're going to see this, but shout outs. It's just
Can
an example. I
everybody
think
like
about.
tag Nuno? Just tag Nuno, like
You
third
should tag,
field. Just tag
Nuno. So
Nuno in the comments.
shout out to Nuno, shout out to his YouTube channel. But as an example, like you look at him now, he's got 10,000 subscribers. Pre high level. So if you're new in pre high level, Nuno had 0 subscribers. 0 subscribers and felt very uncomfortable with the idea showing his face. So there was just, say, show your face, don't show your face. I'm saying impact equals, actually, this isn't so much a focus times force. I just think that is a unique asset that each of us carry. And I think you should take advantage of it. So call to action is click below. It's super simple. And because you did the demo, the landing page to actually like sell is just a checkout page. Like this is just checkout. It's not fancy. You've already covered pricing. You've done all those things in the pre-recorded demo. So friction, objection is, totally out there. And so Dennis asks, can you show their face at the beginning and then go to recording? Oh, that's common. The entire thing is recorded, but I do think that is more common. Like, it'd be like me right now. You'd be like, "Do you see my face?" Maybe if you want to, I am sharing my screen. So it's definitely like there's a good hybrid that happens naturally. If you want to like start off, be like, "Here's my face, welcome, we're gonna dive into it," and then you share your screen, and the rest of it's it's just sharing the screen or whatever's happening there. This is good too if you feel uncomfortable speaking. That sort of hybrid method allows you to then maybe like read a script for the portion of the demo if you want to be, like I'm saying, prepared, choreographed, and do it, execute at an elite level. I think all of those things work in your favor here. This is, I'm trying to think if I missed anything else. Any other questions come to mind, Paulson?
Where
Talking
where do they where do they take advantage of a trial? Where's the trial
this,
page?
so we're not there yet. So this is
Okay.
on-demand demo, no trial. So technically, you can hybrid this. Feel free to blend any of these that you want, but I have seen this example, this exact engine work, no trial. And so because the connection is there, the time has already been made in the engagement with the content. There's another great phrase, the longer the runway, the bigger the lift, the longer the runway. This is for like planes. Like if you want to take off a larger plane, you actually need a larger runway. And so in the same way, you can reverse engineer it. If I want to have a shorter runway, I should have a smaller lift, a smaller plane. And so the $1 trial we're going to see as we get over there, that is a short runway, short lift, right?
Yeah.
So
So
this is
this is like a $1 trial basically.
no, this is straight up to pay.
Oh wow. So you're going straight to TTP trial to pay. There's not even a trial to pay
No
at all.
trial. This is just
There's just
97
straight.
bucks.
So you're just going $97. So
I mean,
going back to
honestly,
what
I see
going
this
back to
run
what yeah.
117.
Got it. So
Uh,
going back to what you said yesterday about the audience difference, right? So somebody who's a stranger to someone who's like a promoter versus so where in the cycle can this apply if in that customer
So
journey?
this can work for strangers. So we're gonna talk traffic tomorrow. Traffic's key,
Okay,
right?
cool, cool, cool,
So
cool.
if I catch someone on problem and I go straight to on-demand demo, this is where literally like you can catch someone who are problem aware. They will go to your demo. They will experience your demo.
Okay,
They'll hang out for you 20 minutes and they'll be like, this is exactly what I was looking for. And they will buy in the same
got it.
way that happens on YouTube every single day. It's like, you're like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm literally, I might've been Googling or searching on YouTube for like, best blender, and then I watch a video about a blender and I'm like, that, or it's a blender
Yeah.
comparison video. I'm like, done. I want this
Yeah.
blender. I click the link and I buy. And why? Because I was more problem aware. I wasn't necessarily solution aware. So we'll talk through that with traffic. But yeah, I see this work straight up stranger to subscriber. And
Okay.
this is the connector here. So that's
Yeah.
our on-demand demo. And I forget what I ranked it in terms of tacos of awesomeness, but you can see in volume, all of these probably deserve 5 tacos in terms of the win there. But I just want to like set realistic expectations because I've seen, it's like, all of us, it's like Kim Kardashian, not Kim Kardashian, one of the Kardashians who's the billionaire now. She started the makeup line. Is it Chloe? I don't know. I'm bad at this. If
Yeah. I think
she
they
had
own it all together.
millions, oh, do they all own it? Well, still, they had millions of followers. They essentially private labeled a makeup brand and turned it into $1 billion business. Was the makeup exceptional? You're like, oh, it's probably better than average, but it's like it's definitely private labeling someone, like there's someone else manufacturing the makeup. Like they're not making it in their house in Calabasas. They had the audience. So that the X Factor, that's what we're going to cover that tomorrow. It's Kylie. Thank you.
Kylie, I think
Or
it's
it's
Kylie.
it's everybody. It's all of them. The audience definitely changes the impact, right? But I've seen even for this in obviously larger the audience, bigger the outputs. But even in a small audience, the same mechanism works. So there are small batch brands and examples of this type of buying sequence that works for the on-demand demo. So,
Yep.
okay,
So
at this
far,
pace,
these
I'm not going to
ideas.
be able to. I
So,
I am so sorry, everyone. Hopefully, tell me in chat if you're enjoying this because I am
I
trying to
know.
give you everything. I think I'm going to be more selective because I'm looking at the clock and I'm like, I can't do 9 times. Like we just spent 20 minutes on the first one. You guys good to hang out for 5 hours. So here's what I'll say. I'm gonna do my best. I'm gonna just be selective. I can't cover all of them. If you have a question, I told you guys yesterday, hit me up on Instagram. I'm an open book. I'm happy to share. I will if something needs to go deeper, I'm here for you. But I'm gonna pivot over here and I'm
Yeah,
going to talk.
give us a one in the chat if you are having really like light bulb moments in your entrepreneurial journey and this whole build out right now. If you're having great ideas come to mind watching this workshop, give us a one in the comment or, just something to just let us know that you are enjoying this. Some people are saying, I'm good for 5 hours, man. Let's go.
Let me know. Yeah, let me know if this is worth it. Love it. Okay.
But either way, we got Dar in the house as well. Hey Dar, hope you're doing well. Okay, so minimum viable product or prototype? I can't remember. Product.
Prototype.
All
Yeah,
right,
this is
prototype.
a specific distinction I want to give you guys because this is a mistake that I made. I thought minimum viable product when I first went into the digital space. When I was like, I'm going to try and sell something digital, like on it, not agency. When I was trying to move from services to product,
Yeah.
someone said build a minimum viable product. Here's the problem with that: a product is like very fully fleshed out. A prototype is not. So like you see this happen all the time. High Level does a very good job. Their skateboards, I mean, I'm not trying to discount anything. It's a prototype. And I want to encourage you and talking through this model here of the prototype. So it is the workshop. Here's why I love it. In practicality, it is a 30-minute give. It does not have to be teaching them. It actually works better. Is it not have to be teaching them something inside of High Level? The purpose is give value. Give value. It is actually even better if you give away something that's unrelated to what you sell. So, for example, if I am serving chiropractors, I'll shout out Dar. If I'm serving chiropractors, I could do a workshop entirely on how to use ChatGPT or AI, whatever. But I'm gonna just do ChatGPT. GPT, yeah. Just how to use ChatGPT. That's my hypothesis here. All that I want to do in all the ways, we're going to validate demand and we're going to constrain supply to discover a funnel that actually works. So it's a workshop. It's a 30-minute give. I would challenge you right now, like pick something you already know that you would be happy teaching for 30 minutes to someone who is your avatar, is that like ideal audience. And like, we want to prototype this. So don't take a lot of time to think about it because a lot of us are afraid of rejection. Prototypes are such a gift because they accelerate rejection, and rejection is what actually accelerates success. So if you're in the sales space, your heavy duty closers, they know they invite it rejection. Like if you're doing cold calling, you're like, I am here for it because a high percentage of the time you're getting a no, but that's fine. You're searching for the yes in the same way as you're developing out your acquisition engine. You want to find those no's as fast as possible. It is a disservice for you to have an idea about something that's actually a subpar, not going to work idea and slow roll it for 6 months. It'd be better for you to get it out tomorrow, validate or invalidate it, and then pivot or push, right? And so so let's talk it through. It is the workshop, and the workshop funnel looks like I showed you. It's got an image. So I'm just going to put this like it's your smiley face. It's an image. It's got simple headline, description. It's got 3 bullets of what you're giving, and it's got a registration button. That's it. Like I told you, I've got just stuff to make this easy for you, but it's a super simple funnel. Here's what you're validating. You're just validating your copy, your messaging. Like it's just the words. They don't see anything on the other side of it. Whether they say yes or no is how good are the words that you put on the page. Our intentional system here is actually so simple that you're barely even introducing any sort of design elements. Like I want to eliminate the most amount of variables here. You look at like, High Level's got like a workshop, it's on brand. There's all these things that are already tested and consistent for them. For this, it's like a white background. You might look at this and be like, this is familiar. I've seen this before. It's because I've tested highly designed, all these sort of things. Unless you, the colder your audience is, or the more you're validating the messaging, the better it works. I have a very simple funnel or landing page here. I remember there was a marketer, I'm blanking on his name. He would do very long form copy, and it was all about like unicorn or something like that. It was maybe someone will chat it in here. Very long form copy, and the landing page would always just be like one phrase and just an email address to validate the same exact thing that was basically on the Facebook copy. This is back in the days before Facebook started not liking long form copy, but it was like it worked incredibly well. Super story driven. James was his name. It was something like the page was
I mean,
actually something.
Frank Kern, a lot of Frank Kern stuff is
Frank
very
Kern
long
does, yeah.
form.
You know what? Yeah, shout out to Frank Kern. Like similar style there, but there was somebody who did like ultra simple. And that wasn't Jim, but the still, you're just validating the copy and the message here.
Yeah.
That's all you want to validate. So what like the prototype? So here's the challenge. The full funnel is going to be workshop, right? It's like register for the workshop.
So
I
it's an
give you
event. It's an event that you're driving people to. And is it pre-recorded? Is it live? Or like what's
that's a good distinction. Intentionally, intentionally unclear. Why? Because this is a prototype. We don't know if anyone's going to show up. So I'm going to give you this example. If I told you we got step one, we got 2, 3, 4. And this one is we got our landing page. We've got to run traffic to it.
and you're giving away something, right? So it's not even
You're just
salesy, it's
teaching.
very educational. Yeah.
Just education, just teaching. Remember I said for that distress and discomfort, it's education and agitate. Education is a
Mhm.
great vehicle to get more prospects, especially around a pain point. So I got to build up my landing page. I got to send traffic. I got to build out slides, and I got to like do the presentation, right? Like actually like do it, present. Here's what I see happen. People, they build the landing page. They build the slides. They don't do the traffic, and no one shows, so they don't present. Right. And then they're like burnt out and they're like, oh, I tried it. It doesn't work. Right. And it's like, what? Your messaging was wrong and you wasted effort. So this is the law of bottlenecks. Basically, if you work on a non-bottleneck, nothing improves. And I see this happen all the time in this workshop space. So I'm going to challenge you with a different style of building here. Is you do build your page, right? Like we have to have our page. We already got it here. I have to have my page. My step 2 is just going to say, congrats. That's it. We'll email you. Right? We'll email. Now, to do this with integrity, for yourself, you're going to set a date. You're going to say, I'm going to do this Friday. It's Tuesday right now. Whenever you're watching, there's a Friday coming up. End of the week, Friday is coming up. You pick the next Friday that you're bold enough to do this with. And you say, if people want to learn, I will teach them, right? I said, your topic here, I wanted you to pick something you do right now. I call you up and you're like, okay, I can go for 30 minutes. I understand it might feel uncomfortable. You might feel like I don't fully know this things. Then I encourage you just go learn something. And you can just reteach the thing that you learned. So you can reteach what I'm teaching you now. Be very meta, right? But you're going to put words on the page. And then this is where like people get uncomfortable with this. You have to run traffic because people need to register. Like if no one sees it, no registration, you're not allowed to build your slides until Thursday
night.
I might even say night, but I'd say Thursday. Some people are stressing. My wife, the preparers, the valedictorians, are like, I got to do it early. You're not allowed to do it Thursday if pick a threshold, enough folks register. Now for you might be like 5's enough, right? Or whatever it is. But here's the deal. Their experience is I'm registering. This sounds good. This looks like on demand. The difference is we do not say, like literally we just say the call to action just says register for free. If you ever see, give me a little hack. If you ever see one of my funnels, it says register for free. You know what it means? I'm not sure this is a good funnel. If it says like get access now, that means it already exists. This is on demand. The difference between on demand and this version, very subtle little difference, almost no difference in conversion rate. So you're just validating your messaging. So like ultimately the dream is, what if you could have this thing it's up, it's working, you've already recorded, you don't even have to redo it. So build it in a way that like it's going to serve you a long time with high leverage here. But initially, you just say register for free, which is true.
Yeah.
You have a date in your mind, Friday, and then you force yourself to run enough traffic. This could be organic. This could be DMs. This could be paid. I want as many views on the page to tell me yes or no. Like I need them to validate my message because I just see it too many times. Folks think they have a great idea and they haven't sent enough traffic to it. And so they sit on what is actually like a non-performing idea because they're afraid of the rejection that comes from actually sending enough traffic. I would so prefer to send a ton of eyeballs, even risk ad spend or whatever it is, to know this was a bad idea. I should try something else. I should move on to the next thing. I said earlier in today's session, like speed is an unfair advantage. The more you can collapse the distance between idea and execution, the more you're going to accomplish. Like it's just like a hack in life here. And so the piece here, we're valid. Like all you're allowed to do is put words on the landing page. I have something for you. At the end of this is going to make it super easy for you. But so put words on the landing page. Your thank you page is going to feel very uncomfortable. All it's going to say is like, congrats. We'll email you
Yeah.
like with the details. And then,
The
behind the scenes, you can do it. If you want to say, hey, if one person registers, I'll do it. Great. That's your threshold. Go and do it. If you want to say 10 people do it, then I'll do it. Then that's your thresholds. And here's what you do. If you run enough traffic to it and only 8 people register, you just tell those 8 folks, hey, sorry, there wasn't enough desire. The workshop's not happening. I'm just honest with them. I'm like, hey, tried it. It's good for you. It's not going to happen. Or I'll I'll just be integritous. But the point is you want to validate what are the discomforts, what are the distresses, what is the messaging that's actually going to draw people in as fast as possible. And why I love this is it gives you permission to be imperfect. You do not need to have slides. You do not need to have a presentation. All you need to have for a little bit of integrity is like know a date in your mind. Like, hey, I would do this Friday if people register. You spin up a landing page and then you send traffic. Now I understand we haven't covered traffic. We'll cover that tomorrow. But when you get folks giving you the template, just be like, here you go. It is as simple, like just minimal friction to get this
yeah.
going and to get it live. And so hopefully the aha here is maybe you've seen moments in your journey too, where you felt like you were doing work, but there was no progress or movement happening. Chances are it was because you were working on a non-bottleneck. I see it time and time again. Folks will be like, I'm working on the slides. I spent all night. I was, did all the thing on the slides. I'm like, does anybody even want to watch this presentation? Does anybody even care about what you're teaching about? And so I've just seen it as a prototype. The lowest barrier method to work into a high leverage success is this. And I've seen absolute newbies trust the process, go and execute on it, and pull in, I forget, they got like 80 plus folks to show up on the presentation. And I think they converted their first 10. And this is like first round of it. Here's the beautiful thing. You do that one time and you're like, Matt, how do I get to 100? You just do the traffic piece of it 10 more times. You now have the recording. Like once you have a presentation that actually converts, you're like, oh boy, all I got to do is the traffic side of it. And so that's the other piece of it. So we're going to validate. So the things that we're validating is like, we're just checking the box. Is our message resonating? Would someone raise their hand and say, I want to learn this? I'm going to give you a couple little hacks here in messaging or to elevate it, but does someone want to learn this? Next is, with like, it's still around do they learn this, but will they prioritize something like that? Like, will they prioritize me? We'll talk about how you can build authority between this thing. Because if a ton of people register and no one shows up, you're like, okay, this isn't great. I'll tell you, on demand makes that easier because sometimes it's the gap of like, hey, it's happening Tuesday. It could be they had kids, dropping the kids off at school, or it could be you've fallen out of priority. And so we want to validate the message. We want to validate our ability to get them to show up, to prioritize watching it. And then we want to validate if our presentation, so that's really what we're validating here, is the presentation. Does the presentation convert?
Yeah. The big
And so,
difference that I'm seeing here, Matt, is the on-demand video training that you talked about is about the bridge and the 4 Ps. There's a
yeah, this is
specific
different.
agenda. This is more like, let me showcase how maybe you can move the needle yourself because you're not ready for me, maybe. It's like you're explaining like the do-it-yourself model, maybe, or you're
Well,
teaching like a certain specific topic that's like AI or something that's in big trend at the moment,
yeah.
and you're just kind of riding the wave.
you're riding a wave of relevance. You're attracting folks because they know a problem, or it could be something that the audience is interested in. You're just in that space of getting them to raise their hand and say, I want that problem solved. And then you're building up a runway. You're
Yeah.
truly building up a runway of relationship, of value received. And so the longer the runway, the bigger the possible lift that you can have. And so it's relative there. If you did if you did like this, imagine if this is not my offer, but imagine if all I had to sell you was a $17 one-time thing. Everyone on here would buy this. Like, you hung out with me for 6 hours, and I'm like, hey, and if you guys got any sort of value, I got something to sell for you. It's $17. I literally got nothing else on my value ladder. You'd be like, yeah, you worked way too hard for a $17 sale, right? So, but it's relative to the value that you want to receive there. And I'll say recurring is a higher value. You gotta re-win it again and again. But so we're validating the message. We are validating our ability to get them to prioritize, and we're validating the presentation. Does it convert? So I'm going to give you on the message side of it. There's a cool, and hopefully it's okay that I go deep in this. I told you guys this was
Yeah.
probably the
Yeah.
one that I could advise the most. I think we'll have time to go through another one. And so
Yeah.
if there was one that stood out to you, write it in the comments that is the thing that you would love me to go deep on for like the next one that we have, another like 15, 20 minutes here to dive into. And I will,
Yeah.
oh, you know what? I got to do the DM one. I got to make sure I show it here. I got to highlight it. So
I was just about to
well,
say the DM one might be the one
that's
that's
that's the
sliding.
winner.
Yeah.
We'll
That's
pretend that everyone
that's
voted on it. We're going to do the GM one. So, but let me give you this quick uh, aspect here to elevate your messaging. Because on here, because you start off, you put words. I want to try and get you to success a little bit faster here. And so and Sean, I see you. You might have to DM me for it, but I'll give you more of a breakdown there about the tiny SaaS. The parts, quick little, is that an acronym? It just easy to remember. These are the parts that you can add to your page that will improve the conversion rate. And so the first one is making it proprietary. Proprietary, is that right? Something like that. Spelling is not my forte. Proprietary. You want to make it feel unique. How do you do this? The easiest way to make it feel proprietary is give it a new name. Give it a new name. I don't care what you're teaching. If you give it a name that doesn't exist, you label it with something that is unique, it instantly feels proprietary. The best example of this is from the book Play Bigger. They talk about this concept of category kings, and you may be familiar with Bluetooth headsets. I don't know if you're old enough to know, like Jawbone. It was the company that actually invented 3 times. They started the category and lost out. But so there was all these Bluetooth headsets, right? Bluetooth headsets. What did Apple do? AirPods. They did not call it an Apple Bluetooth headset. They gave it a new name. Therefore, they redefined a category all of its own and made it feel proprietary. So give it a new name and your page will convert better. The other hack here, I will say it's a hack. It's weird. Apparently the TM means nothing. It means I have, so it's the R with the circle. This means you did something. A little TM next to it literally means I'm thinking about maybe possibly trademarking this. And so that is another little distinction. You give it a new name, you put a little tiny TM next to it, and it converts higher. It feels proprietary. Was it Jawbone? Yeah, I said people missing the Jawbone. I love it. And then this is iPad notes. If you're wondering how am I doing this, just an iPad and Apple Pencil. So I'm an Apple fan. Okay, the A side of it. We want to make this aspirational. What do I mean? It should be aligned with the future payoff. You want to connect the problem to the payoff. So when we said like in that bridge part of it, person, problem, product, payoff, the payoff should be aspirational. It should sound good. It should be a destination they want to get to. And so a classic way to do this is we frame out like these sort of pages is how to do good thing without bad thing. You're elevating the potential possibility without the assumed consequences. You can get, a little bit fancy with this if the assumed consequences are things they would never assume. So how to ethically use DMs to grow your, chiropractic business, whatever it is. They're kind of like a little bit confused because they're like, oh, I didn't know there was an unethical way, right? Or whatever it is. And so there's these, it's aspirational. Sometimes it's character aspirations, but it also can be like, avoiding of a consequence. We want to make it a proprietary if we can. We want to make it aspirational. Our people are hard. They don't like this all the time, but make it repelling. Call out who it's not for. This is kind of goes to like who it's for. If I say attention chiropractors, incidentally, that's repelling all non chiropractors. But I could also say, like, for me, when I try to give you like who is this for? Hopefully there's value for anybody inside of the high level ecosystem. But I'm gonna say this is for folks that want to be elite. That is repelling. When I say it's not for the mediocre many. My hope is we're all here. We've taken the time to prioritize this. We're not identifying them with a character, but what happens? You lean in. You're saying, that's not me. I'm in the right place. So calling out who it's not for actually increases the desire, the attractiveness, the conversion rate on any sort of page. T is tangible. You can do this with stories. You can do this with words. Like there's actual things that help take something that's conceptual, ethereal, out there and make it feel practical. Like I can understand it. I can hold it with my two hands, engage the senses. Right. And so this is, I'm going to, pick on another industry, whatever it is for like, especially if it's a pain point they understand and know deeply. I mean, I'll bring up the one that I said earlier. Like for some folks, the idea of having to always be so connected to your customers is a tangible pain point. Like, it's like if your customers are having a good day, you're having a good day. If your customer is having a bad day, your vacation is ruined. And the possibility of imagining there are folks out there that you don't have to talk to, you never talk to them, you don't even know them, and they actually thank you for buying your stuff, and there's zero chance they can ruin your vacation. Ooh, that feels tangible, right? So that kind of thing, if I can bring the senses into it, bring the experience into it, into our copy here, becomes more, it becomes more tangible and then specific. My specific recommendation here is use numbers. If you can introduce some sort of numbers here, immediately the page converts better. So as we're looking at our messaging, where all we want to do is we want to validate our message. We want to validate our ability to get them to prioritize this, show up on the call, and we want to validate our presentation. There's a little bit about messaging. We're definitely going to cover DMs. I think we have enough time for me to give you this of what do you say on it? You spend 25 minutes teaching. You literally are just giving. That's it. You just give. And then you spend 5 minutes pitching, straight up pitching, selling exactly why what you have that they could buy would be valuable. In here is you can actually literally get permission. It works well. Permission have two S's? I hope so. It works well if you teach something that is amplified by the pitch. So the earlier example I said, if I taught someone how to use ChatGPT and I gave them, and I said, here's an example of how you could figure out a nurture sequence. You gotta have ChatGPT run, like it's gonna write emails for you super easily, right? And I just give, and I teach and I teach and I teach for 25 minutes. And I'm keeping an eye on the time, and I kind of think like, okay, cool, I'm rounding out. I finished my timing here. Then I'm gonna say, okay, I think we've wrapped up. Was that good? Everyone enjoy this? Awesome. We have like a few more minutes left. Would it be okay if I just showed you something that we've got for sale that honestly would take this to the next level? And I think it'd be a win for most of you here. And what will happen? Everyone will say, yeah, that's great. Like, please tell me. And then you pitch unashamedly for the next 5 minutes. And what has happened is you've built up 25 minutes of reciprocity. You've gotten permission to pitch. This style of workshop works incredibly well. And so, like I said, I want you to hear in your mind, this is a prototype. The win for you today is to take this page, put words on it. Take this page, put words on it. That's it. Page, put words on it. And so I know I've got stuff for we've got an awesome offer for folks that are signing up or upgrading. But I actually wasn't planning on doing this. So I'm going to give you guys this. Sorry, I just had to quickly like set it up so it'll work. It's literally hlprotools.com/WKSHOP. That's this template. So if you want this template, I don't know. I felt something stirring in me. I was like, I want no excuses. I mean, I'll be honest. If you don't have a high level account, this template's worth nothing to you. So you need it. This works as a share template into high level. So you need high level. But if you have high level, I just want no barrier between you doing this. Literally, this is the template. It's those 3 steps in there. And we're gonna focus on the messaging. I've got one more thing to make this easy for you guys. But let me stop sharing. I'm going to pivot over to high level because I got to walk you through this DM process here. It's just too stinking easy. So as a reminder, this is the content. I literally make a piece of content, and I just make sure my reels, videos, whatever it is, says, hey, comment the word down below. I'm just in a demo account here. We're going to go to automation. If you're new to high level, they've got incredible automations. They also call them workflows. We're going to go create workflow. And I'm going to go select a recipe. I was planning, I was like, I'm going to show you how to build this from scratch. And then I realized I don't need to. Like high level is too easy. You scroll down a little bit. You may not even know this happens over here. And we've got a couple different options. I'm going to show you this one. It's comments and workflow AI. You can actually have AI handle the response piece of it. Not only, okay, so let's work this through here. And people are asking, does this work? You need high level. So for the link that I just gave you, of the minimum viable protocol, I'll bring it back up. Maybe I'll edit my slides quickly and put it on there so you can see it on the slides. But you need to have a high level account. So I have no way to share it if you are using a different version of high level. So I'm going to click select. It's going to do some loading. And it's just letting you know, allow, you can re-enter on this. It's totally allowed. I got it. It is, I mean, it's honestly that simple. We are going to filter by a word. So contains phrase or exact match. So that's the only other thing that we're going to put in here. So for me, I said scale. So this way, you may not want it to run with like every comment, right? When my mom's like, Matt, I'm so proud of you. I don't, I don't want it to be like, here's your free resources, mom. Like, here's your, whatever it is, that you weren't looking for. And so you can specify it down. Hear me. There's a couple of other things that are going on here. So you got to select your page. Obviously, that's like choose the page that you're posting from. Post type, you want it to be the published ones. Post, you don't have to have a post here. So I can actually have this work. So anytime I post something, if I make my call to action to comment the word scale, it's going to run the same process. And so that's the beauty of this is you can kind of like, you can double dip. You can make it specific to a post if you only want to run on one, as you saw there. They give you the flexibility. I like the versatility where I can basically set it once, do it many times. Here's another cool thing. You can have it's exact match, but you don't have to set up multiple triggers. I can say like, oh, I actually also want to do the same thing if they comment the word grow. And so now for your content, you can have, different calls to action. Remember I said marketing's uniqueness, marketing's effectiveness is related to its uniqueness. If you can keep on being unique, it'll keep on working. On the setup side of it, I told you this was quick. You can literally just type in like, I'm going to go scale and grow. And, if I was in a different practice, I'd be like customers and clients or automate or whatever it is. The thing's a bunch of synonyms together. As soon as you're creating your content, it seems like it's fresh, even though on the back end, we're running the same.
I've seen a lot of people use branded terms like Apple's AirPods, or they have
Yeah.
like a certain caveat to their packaging.
Yeah. And even better, if you've got a proprietary word that you're having them use right there, like think of how great that is, right? And so you pick a phrase, this example, actually, this recipe, I didn't realize. This is Facebook. You knew it for Instagram too. So actually we probably more commonly use this with Instagram. Same process here. One little adjustment is you just change Instagram. They're both on Meta. And a good clarification for Kelly, you do need to be a business page. This is why I actually kind of think Instagram's a little bit easier there because they don't create as much of a distinction between like a business page and a personal Instagram. Like it looks and feels the same, whereas Facebook has a bigger distinction there. And for reach a lot of times, the intention is, if I was thinking about like actual scale here, is if you have one of those posts and it's working, you could run ads behind it. And so you can't run ads behind a personal, like a truly just personal post there. And so that's why it's built in this way. So um, it automates, it does run from a business. Well, even that, like it's a page. Facebook calls pages and profiles different things. So page is like, that's the business page. In Instagram, it's also, it's the lines are blurred there a little bit more. And so if you were just doing it small scale, I would do Instagram. I honestly think for us, we get better engagement on Instagram too. There, and a little hack there is if you participate in threads, we are seeing a boost in Instagram. Well, traffic's for tomorrow. But so it's that simple, literally out of the recipe. See what's happening here is high level makes it easy. You can actually just like have it prompt through and have AI respond there. You don't have to go. This is like an AI prompted version where it's like doing sentiment and the kind of, tracking out like, was it positive? Was it negative? Whatever it is. We could actually simplify this and just go, I'll show you, where's our, so I could shift it over and DM. So this is a common one that we'll do is we'll like, let's pick a few here. Okay. So I guess maybe I've got a Facebook page connected on the demo account, not an Instagram. So I can't show it exactly. Oh, it's because the trigger's not there. So I could go to Messenger. I can reply to comment, and then I can reply to comment via DM. Here's probably the simplest version that you'd want, which is just saying like, awesome, here you go. And now you're in, like, the conversation is happening in Messenger or in Instagram if you're doing it. So I'm not going to, like, this stuff is cool. You can leverage AI if you want to be like really diverse with your engagement there, handle more replying to comments and just engaging in that stuff like that. For us, we can actually keep it super simple. We're just going to do this. They comment the word and we strike up the conversation there. You can follow up and sort of have like AI, and this is all Zappichat does a similar thing here where it's like, oh, I can have it qualify the leader, go deeper on the nurture here, but this is already a win.
Yeah,
Think
you
about
can
this.
have like a appointment setter or a salesperson manually interrupt those conversations. There's a lot of complexity to this
There's a
that you
lot of
can
flows
add.
here. This
Yeah.
is a front end that I see stack usually with some of these others. So like we've used this to fill a challenge, right? So it's just on the front end, it becomes very low friction for someone to comment. And then the conversations in Messenger. And then like my auto message might say like, here, it might be like, let's say I'm offering for something free. I'd be like, here you go. And I might send them like a Google Drive link. No opt-in required. I'm like, also, we actually have a challenge coming up. It starts on Monday. Here's where you can register for that. It's totally free. And if you want to do more manufactured specialness there, like why not under promise over deliver? You could say, we got a challenge going up. It's normally $7, but I made a coupon for you to make it free. Like these are little skills and hacks here to get people to prioritize. You can kind of keep on working on, but it's like, look at this. This took me minutes. And so it's very, very simple. I got a few more slides and I will edit this, but is it okay if I over deliver? I
Of
wasn't
course.
even planning the one that I did. This was the second. Okay. So on messaging, this only works if you have ChatGPT, but they're my favorite copywriter influences. Those models I've pumped into a ChatGPT assistant. I realize if you're not out in pro ChatGPT, this is not valuable for you, and I apologize. But if you are if you're already paying for OpenAI, this is pulled in models from the levels of awareness we consider, those the parts, all of those models we put in there. And so we've just trained this on the things that we use to create great copy. And like I said, I want to remove the friction for you to go and take action. I mean, I've now given you the prototype template, and now I've given you the tool to accelerate actually getting words on the page. The difference between you having a workshop up this afternoon is like, will you do the work? You probably have about 30 minutes of work. I'm honest, truly, about 30 minutes to move into a zone where if you validate this funnel, you get people to show up, you try to just give value for 25 minutes, then heavily pitch for 5. You could be running an evergreen funnel like next week. There's nothing to say that you can't do that. And I'm saying, like, pick the benchmark there. Got 2 days of traffic, run your first one on Friday. And I would love to hear that you get a similar story to what I've seen other folks do, where they're imperfect action takers. They hear it, it locks in. They know this is the one that I want to do. they go and they make it happen, because that's my win. When I hear those stories come back with like, I did it, the market is so big. You have no idea. And I still engage as a buyer with businesses that frustrate me every single day. So tomorrow, what do we got? We got some accelerators. Hopefully
So
this
that
was
was a big
good.
relief, Matt. That was a big relief. Like, I'm done with day two for now.
I'm not. I see my Instagram is blowing up, and so I'm gonna get you guys people that like. I'm just gonna spend the next hour walking around responding, and so I'll get you guys. If you found me, you had a question, you wanted more on there, I'm gonna. It might be a lot of voice notes because I leave here and I just start walking. I just need to walk outside. And just just reflect on gratitude and opportunity for all things going on. But so we're going to cover efficiency. I've got more for you. We're doing our 60D engine worksheet. This is going to be another work with it together. The focus is traffic. The focus are the things of like, what do we do? We've got these models. We've got some, ways to make it easier. We're going there. And I want to calculate, I'm going to give you some benchmarks, a best ROI for each stage, depending on where you're at. What would I do? Even when I'm looking at the accelerators. And someone's asking for the URL. Let me stop sharing. I'm gonna go put it onto the slides. I'm literally gonna edit the slides right now, and then I'll put it back for you. So here we go. So you can have that, and because I know the recording won't have, it'll go quick. You'll be able to pause from there. So here we go. Let me know. I see people commenting, but I just appreciate you guys giving me feedback and let me know this was good or valuable. And like I said, I'm open to constructive feedback as well. If there was something that was distracting or not as good as it should have been, here is that URL, hlportals.com/WKSHOP. That's a share template to you. You can have that. I appreciate Jordan posted it in the comments there as well. This is a no opt-in. Like that's a straight up in it, just a share funnel link right there. And then hopefully we got it. Screenshot it. If you want that, if you're using OpenAI, you already went over going there. Okay, I told you guys I'd share it. So these things, all of these templates we are giving you if you sign up for high level or if you upgrade with high level. So if especially if you're like, Matt, you didn't go deep in this one, or we didn't have the time to like dive into it, clarify it, like I've got it all. I've got it all. And I would love to make it as easy as possible for you. And so, to Paulson's point earlier, high level has been a game changer for us. I think this is the most powerful tool right now for any business trying to do anything. And especially if you are out there trying to help other businesses have the access to this tool, I want to do everything in my power to make that as easy as possible for you and to make it as fast as possible and for you to be able to impact as many people as possible. So we've taken these things, like literally the top 10 that I've seen work well, like they are built for scale, and put it into, I mean, you already have one. So congrats. You got one, no excuses there. But if you want to upgrade or sign up, that's the link. You can use that page and we'll get you all of those.
Awesome, Matt. We will have replays sent out here shortly. I'll go ahead and render all this and send it over to a production team. In case if today was the first day you watched, I promise you, yesterday was the foundational conversation we had that we built on today. So you have to go back and watch yesterday. I do think that gives you the layer that you might be missing because you're like, man, Matt just like literally bulldozed me with so many strategies and I don't even know where to start. If you're feeling like that, it's okay. Go watch day one and come back and watch day two again at maybe higher speeds or whatever just to save time. And then, most importantly, take time to implement at least one or two of these things. And I
I,
promise you, it'll change your whole entire business.
I want to call out one thing. Okay. It's not plural, it's singular. Somebody in the chat was like, I went to workshops and it didn't work. It's singular, not plural. So just make sure. At first I thought I typed it wrong and I was like, oh, thank goodness I did not. It was just, maybe a little, and I don't know if Jordan, if the one that you posted in the chat was accidentally plural. You're doing that from memory. I think Jordan was great in there. Oh, okay. Yeah. Somebody was posting, it's singular, not plural. Uh, yeah, I think I did it correctly everywhere that I posted it. So no offense. Easy to get confused there. But so yeah, singular, not plural. And I forgot to say, with lifetime updates, So we're giving you this, and then also I'm going to share with you a process here because you'll see, like we keep on refining, we keep on doing it. So if it's okay with you, you get to hang out with me for as long as we keep doing these things. And I don't anticipate these to be like a dramatic mover or shaker going away, but we keep on updating this as well. And so I want to let you know, like this is, you will have access to kind of like a living sheet there where you can just come back. Like I can't, actually, if you want, maybe I'll have a play where you can note, like alert yourself for updates there. And so, because we probably do sometimes monthly, sometimes quarterly, we'll do kind of like a refresh, or if we learn like there's a different, system or processor that's working better. And so when you do this, we've got you, and we'll definitely take care of you. So thanks,
All
Paulson, and
right.
I will see you all tomorrow.
All right. Bye for now, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, 12 o'clock EST. That's New York time for those of you that are international. Replays will be available on YouTube. We'll send it out to email. There will be a replay page as well. Take advantage of the trials, take advantage of the upgrades, especially if you're on 97 or 297. Move up so you can get all the resources and you're set up for success. But we'll see you tomorrow. We're going to talk about traffic and how to get people in the door of all these ramps that we talked about today. But either for now, have a good rest of your Tuesday. Bye for now.